Yo, 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 what's up, dialoguers? It's your boy MineDialogue back once again. Sharing info for you to comprehend. And before you know it, you'll start to ascend. That is in your trading/investment journey. So, good evening, folks. It's a pleasure to connect with you on this beautiful Friday evening. Weather was indicating that it was going to be some type of thunderstorms, but looks like we evaded that. And so, as we go into the weekend, I want to just give you my analysis on what things are looking like with Bitcoin. We've kind of been neglecting Bitcoin. I haven't really been messing with it, but there's been some beautiful moves after they've hit some recent all-time highs. So I wanted to lend some proper and intentional time to Bitcoin so that we can see what's going on with it. So we're going to take off the indicators and start with a relatively clean chart for the most part. And don't forget, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If there's tickers that you're either invested or thinking about investing, or would just kind of like to know from a charts perspective what certain companies are looking like and what their future potential looks like, we can be able to at least assess some aspect of that based on the charts. And then, if you want to invest and plan to hold, for long term, whether that be 3, 5, 10 years or beyond, you'd have to start digging into their financials, balance sheets, cash on hand, what it costs to run their operations, other investments they're making, all that good stuff. But for the time being, I will be your guide to help you navigate the charts. As many of us know, Bitcoin has been on an absolute frenzy. I remember seeing Bitcoin when it was as low as $3,000, and to see it up at $117,000 plus is just bonkers. So, and I don't know if we really ever did the kind of big picture breakdown of Bitcoin like we did with gold and SoFi, and even Eli Lilly. So we're gonna do that now within the time frame that we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase everything, take all the drawings off. I'm gonna hide any potential orders. And then I'm gonna go on the weekly, as since it's oh man, that's not much to assess. I forgot Bitcoin is hold on. What is this? I know they're not planning giving me this week. What's going on here? Hold on. December 2024. Y'all are wilding. Hold up. I know y'all gonna give me more of Bitcoin than this. What is going on? Something must be up. I must be confused or something. Let's see here. Maybe because it's this. I selected the wrong. There we go. I think. Let's see here. There we go. I was about to trip for a second. I'm like, yo, I know Bitcoin goes way back beyond December 2024. So this is on the weekly time frame. And so, this essentially captures, you can really see like the inception of Bitcoin from when it first started back in, what was that? Looks like it started tracking its data back in 2011, and price Let me see if I could stretch this out to see where price was. Yeah, wow, price was as low as, let me see if I could really stretch it out to give y'all a accurate depiction of how low Bitcoin was. Jesus, Bitcoin was low as like $2 at one. Let me see here. Literally like $5 at one point, and now it's $117,000. That is just, that's insane. Just totally insane. And is just a phenomenal example of when investments work out. Because boy, this was an insane run. So this is the weekly chart, and so I want to capture, let's capture this right here. So this is the weekly chart right here. And, you can just look at this visual frame of what Bitcoin looks like. So if you remember from other videos, I'm going to be re-emphasizing and just reiterating certain things so you can be able to get that practice, and you can get to a point where you can conduct your own analysis on whatever ticker or stock you'll be looking at. So when I talk about ticker, that's essentially like the symbol on the whatever market a company is being traded on. Like, you got things like NVIDIA, or companies like NVIDIA that are on like the NASDAQ, but it's also a part of the S&P 500 as well. But the ticker is, I think, what is it? NVDA. Let me see. Yeah, ticker is NVD for NVIDIA. I don't know why I thought it was something else. But ticker it's NVDA, I believe. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, NVIDIA's NVD. Is this accurate? This looks off. This doesn't look accurate. Hold on, y'all. This doesn't look accurate at all. Let me see. NVDA. Yeah, that's what it is. NVDA. So that's NVIDIA. So tickers are essentially like this, the company's acronym, just like the abbreviation of letters that represent the company and how it's represented on whatever market it's being traded or invested on. So let's go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ticker is BTC, and we're looking at the Bitcoin to US dollar pair, right? So it's essentially matched up against the dollar. And so let's look at this on the weekly. We can clearly see that it has been a tear. And so at first, when I see this, right, I see a critical swing high right there. See another critical swing high right there, right? So that gives me my first two reference points for me to strike a ray through. And so when we strike that ray on the top of those two swing highs, this is a swing high and this is another swing high that goes a little higher. So this would be considered a higher high because it's a high, but it's higher than the previous high, right? So when we strike it through, we can see that recently they essentially teetered on it over here around in January, December, January, even November. broke below it, came back up. Now we're above it, got support on it right here. So whenever I talk about support, right, support is essentially akin to demand, which means that these are certain areas and levels where people want to buy at. Demand, i.e. buying, volume will push price up. So at this level area here at 98,000, that was a demand area or level, because we can see what happened once it dipped and made that swing low on the weekly. People came into the market, right? People can't. So essentially what happened on this particular yellow candle here, really yellow. I made this yellow as a customized color, but the candle is really supposed to be red. But just know that yellow signifies selling, right? So in this week, the 16th of June, the week of the 16th of June, on this particular weekly candle, we opened up on Bitcoin at 105,627. They buy, right? Let me give you the whole candle representation so you could see, right? So we open here. Let's get some lines on here. So we essentially open here, right? So we open there at the 105 and 600 something. People buy. It makes a high, right? So from where it opened to the high, this right now in real time will look like a full body green buying candle, like some of these, right? But remember, it's the week just started, so it's probably like Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. They're buying it up at the beginning of the week. That's the manipulation. Then they sell. Now you start having a wick that's left exposed. Sell. We breach below the previous candle's close, which is basically on par with the current candle that we're assessing where that opened. And we breach the open of the actual candle. So we'll sell. We now have an exposed wick right there, right? And the candle now turns to red. Let's make this a little darker, right? So now we have this wick exposed. And now the candle's red because it's below the previous candle's close and below where we actually opened at the beginning of the week. So they're selling. It's probably getting into Wednesday. Selling, maybe Thursday. I don't know. I'd have to look at the daily to actually see which days were red and green or they were selling and buying. But, we're going into the middle of the week, towards the end of the week, we're selling. And we keep selling to where, right? We've broken below that very key trend line up top that we just drew, right? So remember, we just drew this trend line essentially from the rate tool here over on the left, and we got two reference points and we just struck it to the left. I mean, we struck it or extended it to the right, and it also extends to the left. And this was on Monday 12th, or this is the week of the 12th of April 2021. So this is around pandemic time. And then our next reference point was in November of 2021. So we extended out all the way to the right, and we come to this pivotal point in the week of June 16th. And as we near or are at the end of the week, we sell down, make this low. All we see in real time on this weekly is this exposed wick from the candle, and it looks like a full body selling candle, and it's below this trend line. So you're like, man, if it closes below this, they might take out all of this green buy side liquidity. Whenever, and I don't think I've ever addressed it, but whenever I say liquidity, it's essentially the money flow in the market. So you had a lot of buying, a lot of people entering the market by buying up Bitcoin all the way up here. Look at all these green candles. The majority, this is all majority buying all the way up to this level. They reached a key high. Then once they reached that key high, they sold down, right? We hit the low during this week. Then they buy. Boom. So now the same outlined area as the candle, you're left with the body. That's what I mean when I talk about body, where the significant portion of volume and trading and investing took place in this midpoint of the entire range of this candle. You're left with this body in the middle, wicks on top and bottom, top for the high of at the beginning of the week, wick at the bottom for the low at the end of the week, right? And then we push up, and then that leaves us where we currently are. So that's that context, right? So we close down bottom here, right? Open here, make a high, make a low, close down bottom of the body. So that's the trend line up top. And then down bottom, I'm sorry y'all, down bottom, we can also make another trend line. Boom. Let's see if we can make it more so it looks relatively equal with what's going on up top. All right. So now we got this trend line down bottom. And what we've seen in the past is this is a very huge channel on the weekly. You got the 1-2 tap, hard sell off. Then we have this breakthrough up here, right? Went down and then we broke through again. And you can even see this W pattern here, right? Or like the head and shoulders essentially. So you got this W pattern. Boom. Or basically head and shoulders to go up. Got your head right there. Got your shoulders right there. Right? And what you'll notice is typically whenever you see this head and shoulder / W pattern forming, right? This is a more basic drawing of it. I could do the actual, like, you know, a couple things to make it look more like realistic, but this is what you get right now. So whenever you see this pattern and you see this right side shoulder higher than this side, essentially, it's an indication that we're most likely going to go up. Not all the time, it's not guaranteed, but from the times that I've seen it, it's pretty consistent. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see if we can form a new channel with what's going on. So we're going to try to tag this high here, right? So we got a swing high that was just made, and it looks like the week for Bitcoin ends on Sunday, so there's 2 days left, but we just made a swing high on the previous week. So we could potentially be coming down, and we just made all-time highs yet once again. So let me change this color. Let me get rid of these right here. So the black line is the top of the channel, right? So let's see here. Top of the channel. Where is it though? Oh, it's all the way over here. Let me see if I can bring it over more. Top, I made it over to the right. Maybe that's as high as it's gonna go, whatever. So you got the top of the channel. You got the bottom of the channel. Specify what time frame so we can understand the importance of it. So we had this W pattern, or head and shoulder to the upside, forming, and for this current channel here, let's go ahead and try to strike for the bottom, equidistance. Look at that, that looks nice right there. It's really nice, right? So what we got going on right now is we just got support off the top of that very important channel from very early on, since Bitcoin's inception. And then we just tagged the top of this more, I would say, current channel or recent channel. So there's a decent probability that we're probably gonna come down and at least either get more support here at the top of this channel or go down and get support at the bottom of this channel. We already tagged it 2 times already at the bottom of that W, or basically 2 V's, right? Let's take this off. So one of the things that we can use the Fibonacci Retracement Tool for is to try to do let's see how much time we got left, 9 minutes, is to try and do a future projection and see if we can find a discount or level 2 that will be of significance, right? So let's see here. We are going to start at the top and measure at the bottom, right? So you might say, well, why did you start right there and why did you end right there? I'm gonna put a circle around it so you can see where I started the measurement and where I ended the measurement, right? I started it here because this is a swing high, essentially in the crevice of a move preparing to go up, or a reversal to go up. So we went up, made the swing high, came down, got support off of this more recent channel, and then we shot up. So that's key for me, right? And then make sure it's as accurate as possible. Then I went here at this swing low because this started this huge move to go up that broke both of these channels where they essentially intersect. And look, one of the things I like to do is striking a horizontal line through the intersection of where certain trend lines or channels, right, in that X area right there. And look at what key thing happens where I strike where all of these converge, right? I struck a horizontal line that almost creates this like star-like X. drawing, and look what happens. You have beautiful support and respect by these candles. This like barely closed below it, and then guess what happened? We pop back up, and they just kept wicking and painting down below it until they were ready to finally drop down properly. And then look, when we came back up and came back above it, got beautiful respect on it. Bodies do not close below, and as we went up, bodies stopped below, right? Now, what I want to bring your attention to is both the discount level, which is the 1.618% level, or based on the way I measured, it is one whole standard deviation from where the 62% is down here, right? So boom, one whole standard deviation. So let me change this color really quick. If we look at this color, if we look at this level, again, look what happens. We manipulate above, they sell it down, get support off the top of the more important trend line or top of the channel, and then we go up. Look what happens. We go up, close above, manipulate down, wick into, and they get beautiful support to continue up. Look how this wick beautifully and just perfectly into the discount level, right? The 2 level is where the reason I did the measurement that way. Now remember, you can use the Fibonacci tool a couple different ways. The reason I measured it that particular way, starting from a top point and pulling it down to a bottom point, is because I wanted to see the levels that retraced upwards in the opposite direction. And we have your 2 level right here, right? We're about to end the video. Like, this is, I'm not giving you a ton of information. I'm just pointing out some key things that when I'm doing analysis, especially like the beginning of like deep dive, bigger picture analysis, these are the things that I look for. So we have the 2 level here, and we have the entry model that I like, which is a close above the 2 level. We sweep it. Look, that's a nice, beautiful sweep into this most recent top of this trend line, and then we're beginning to sell off. So I am going to take a short position here, a sell here, and let's go down on the daily so I can see where I want to take profit. I don't know if this is going to be a swing low yet, because we could break below it. In order for it to count as a swing low, the next candle that finishes for the next day and the next 20 hours cannot go below it. So we're going to use this swing low right here, and we're going to do another retracement measurement up to this high, and got 3 minutes 20. All right. So, and I want to see the levels retrace down bottom. Now we got a 2 level down here, down at 108. That's pretty far off, right? And I don't want to be that greedy, but it is a good place to take profit because we're on the cusp of, I believe, the discount level from before that. Yep, we got this discount level that I pointed out. We're back down there. This is where the 2 level shows up right above there. So essentially you can do this. You can highlight that area, and you know that this is going to be an extremely important demand zone, or area where like some aggressive buying is going to take place, right? I'm going to extend that, right? But I'll take this trade to, I didn't mean to buy that much, but nonetheless, I'll take it. So we're going to go down and aim to take profit right before that discount level right there on the weekly. Let's turn this back off. Actually, we're gonna do a stop loss. I don't like that high of a stop loss. Let's see if we can find an inefficiency. I'm not gonna do a stop loss yet. I need to go down on the lower time frame to see where I want to put my stop. But right now we're gonna let the trade play out for a little bit, and I will update you all what happens. So this is how I would assess if I were to enter a trade, and just some of the more in-depth analysis that I would do when it comes to Bitcoin, and how I use the Fibonacci Retracement Tool just to identify some key areas and levels. Right? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Or donate to the channel at MineDialogue, one word, that's money sign MineDialogue, or hit me up via email for a free private consultation at MineDialogue.business@gmail.com. I appreciate y'all, folks. I will give you both an update on the Bitcoin trade and on our Bitcoin analysis, and go a little bit more in depth in the next video to follow up with this. I appreciate y'all. Have a great Friday night on purpose. Love.